So welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle, otherwise known as Mew Tripled, and on this channel I pretty much share my experience as a full-time artist living in Los Angeles, primarily in the animation industry as a story artist, and I also am in the midst of releasing my first published graphic novel ever, Mish the Bad Demon. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about the best paying jobs in animation because I'm pretty sure a lot of you who watch my channel are very interested in pursuing some sort of art career in the future. So for those of you who are unaware, there's a spreadsheet out there called the Salty Animator spreadsheet, which is from an Instagram page called Salty Animators, which basically shares the responses that people have chosen to give anonymously about their pay rate with whatever else information they're willing to provide. And I feel like this is a little bit more reliable than stuff that you would get from Glassdoor. So I'm gonna choose some of the most notable ones just because I want artists to aim high and just know that, this is a potential future for you out there. And if you aren't sure about what some of these job positions are, I actually made a video before called 35 Animation Jobs, where I kind of talk about more about what are the responsibilities of these certain careers. But before I start running down through the jobs, I just first wanted to say that did you know that only 38% of you are subscribed to this channel and 61% of you who watch my videos aren't? So if you aren't already, I would truly appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel, especially if you are looking to get more information about how to pursue an art career and just generally how to live a healthy, balanced, financially stable life as an artist. So the way I'm going to structure this video is by saying the position, the potential studio, whether if it's unionized or not, and I will be giving the rates in the form of weekly rates and what that would convert to as a yearly salary. So if you're confused as to why artists get paid on a weekly rate, it's just because we're in a project-driven industry, which means that you're not always guaranteed a year of work, although I will say most projects that I've worked on have been at least a year or 2 years, and then you're kind of left on your own to find your next gig. So the yearly salary is more so there to just be like, well, if you worked a full year in this job, this is how much you would make in a year. So first we're gonna start off in story. So a storyboard revisionist with 1 year of experience at Warner Brothers Animation and Walt Disney Animation Studios, which are both unionized, was paid $1,923.08 per week, which is about $100,000 per year. A storyboard artist with 6 years of experience at Nickelodeon, which is also a unionized studio, was paid $2,700 per week, which is about $140,400 per year. And a story artist with 17 years of experience at Walt Disney Animation Studios, which is also union, is paid $3,200 per week, which is about $166,400 per year. So then next we're entering the world of visual development and art. So a visual development artist with less than 1 year of experience at Paramount Animation, which is unionized, was paid $2,475 per week, which is around $128,700 per year. And a visual development artist with 7 years of experience at an unknown unionized studio was paid $3,210 per week, which is around $166,920 per year. And then there's a viz dev artist with around 15 years of experience at Cuckoo Studios, which was paid $2,884.62 per week, which is around $150,000 per year. So this person has more experience than the previous person, but is making around $16K less per year. So this person is also at Cuckoo Studios, which is non-unionized, so that could be a potential reason why they're not getting paid as much as the previous person in the union studio, but that's just my guess. So then next we're gonna enter the character / prop design world, and a prop and character designer with 0.5 years of experience at an unknown studio, and I'm not sure if they're unionized, was paid $1,946 per week, which is around $101,192 per year. So it makes sense that this one is a little bit on the lower end because they've only had 0.5 years of experience, but I also find it interesting that their job is both a prop and character designer, which is two sets of different responsibilities, and they're being paid at this lower rate. So I would say that this is okay if you're first starting off in the industry like this, but I don't think you should be juggling these two different types of jobs at this rate in the long term. Then a character designer with 8 years of experience at an unknown union studio was paid $2,250 per week, which is around $117,000 per year. Then a character designer with 10 years of experience at Netflix, which is a unionized studio, was paid $2,900 per week, which is around $150,800 per year. So that's pretty good. I would say that definitely with 10 years of experience, I would assume a character designer should be paid more, but also I'm a story artist and I'm really not as familiar with these other jobs. And just so you know, as I get further down this list, I am primarily a story artist. So as we get further and further away from that, I'm not going to personally be as familiar with what the proper pay rate for each title should be. So this is just all based off of my assumptions and experience as an artist who has friends in these different fields as well. All right, so next we're gonna move on to background. So a background painter with 6 years of experience at an unknown union studio was paid $2,255 per week, which is around $117,270.40 per year. Then meanwhile, there's a freelance background designer with 2 years of experience at Netflix, which is also a unionized studio, who was paid $2,500 per week, which is around $130,000 per year. So you might be wondering, why is this person with less years of experience and is also freelance being paid more than the previous person who has 6 years of experience? First of all, I don't know the previous person's studio, but also this freelance person, usually freelance artists, their weekly rate is usually a little bit more because they're not always guaranteed that full-time positions. So it's like this person might be getting paid $2,500 per week, but who knows if their job is only like a month or 2 months or 3 months long and it's not a full year. So that $130,000 per year is not exactly guaranteed. Then a background designer with 10 years of experience at Netflix, which is also a unionized studio, is paid $2,800 per week, which is around $145,600 per year. So then next we're moving to the world of previs and layout. So there's probably going to be a mixture of the two in here. So a previs artist with 8+ years of experience at an unknown union studio was paid $65 per hour, which is around $2,600 per week, which would be $135,000 per year. And a previs artist with also 8+ years of experience at an unknown union studio was paid $2,800 per week, which equates to $145,600 per year. So the previous artist that I mentioned is actually getting paid less than this person despite having the same number of years of experience. Then meanwhile, a previs/layout artist with 6 years of experience at Paramount, but this one is non-union and it's based in Texas, is paid $3,000 per week, which is around $156,000 per year. So this person has less years of experience, is at a non-union studio, and is based in Texas. So they're being paid more per week, which I think is great. I'm actually curious to know why this one is paid more than the previous two unknown unionized studios, and maybe it's because this one is at Paramount, which is a more major animation studio, and potentially the previous two might be either at smaller studios than Paramount or have a smaller budget, who knows. Next, we're moving on to the world of animation itself. So a games animator with 10 years of experience at Sony Games is being paid $1,923.08 per week, which is around $100,000 per year. I know this amount is going to be higher than what most people out there in the world are being paid, but also I feel like considering the amount of years of experience and compared to all the other numbers I've been reading, this is pretty low for that number of experience. So, and I also don't think that games classify as a unionized studio position. So I don't really know why this rate is lower than the others considering those 10 years of experience. Then next we have a 2D animator with just 4 years of experience at an unknown unionized studio who was paid $2,200 per week, which is around $114,400 per year. So then next there's a senior motion designer with 13 years of experience in New York at Google, who's paid $2,596.15 per week, which is around $135,000 per year. Then next we have a 3D animator with 20 years of experience at Walt Disney Animation Studios, which is unionized, who was paid $3,846.15 per week, which is around $200,000 per year. Then next we have a freelance motion graphics artist with 11 years of experience in Brooklyn, New York, who's paid $800 per day, which is around $4,000 per week. And that is around $208,000 per year. So that is pretty impressive if you are able to be paid that much consistently for a whole year, because even though this person is being paid $800 per day, again, they are freelance, which means that they might not be getting paid every single business day of the year. So there's a chance that their yearly rate is definitely a lot lower than this, but if you could achieve this daily rate, that would be pretty good. Then next we're gonna move on to the world of CG 3D stuff. So a freelance 3D artist who did work for commercial and game trailers with 8 years of experience was paid around $700 per day, which they say is around $90K to $125K per year, and that's around 8 to 9 months of work per year. So this person gets paid around $700 per day, but they only really work 8 through 9 months of the year. So that might be around $90,000 to $125,000 per year, which, you know, is good. I'm pretty sure if you work those additional months, you would be paid a little bit more. But I would say that if you are somebody who just needs those months off to live your life, spend time with family, take a break from work, I think this is still decent enough to live a stable life. And there's a 3D generalist with 5 years of experience in the Bay Area who's paid $2,800 per week, which is around $145,600 per year. Then there's a 3D modeler with 9 years of experience at an unknown union studio who's paid $3,134.62 per week, which is around $163,000 per year. And then there's an FX artist with 14 years of experience at a non-union position, so I'm assuming that this one is freelance because they also give a day rate of $650 to $750 per day, and that would be around $3,250 to $3,750 per week, which is around $169,000 to $195,000 per year. So if they pretty much worked every day of the year, they would still be paid pretty decently at $169,000 per year. But I'm also not sure if this person has to pay for their own like health insurance and just their own benefits or where that's coming from. And usually at a unionized studio, that is at default provided for you without taking away too much from your salary. Then a 3D environment artist with 17 years of experience at an unknown non-union studio is paid $3,461.54 per week, which is around $180,000 per year. And a rigging and simulation artist with 16 years of experience at an unknown non-union studio is paid $3,576 per week, which is around $186,000 per year. Then next we have a lighter slash compositor with 9 years of experience at a non-union unknown studio in LA who was paid $4,038.46 per week, which would be around $210,000 per year. So I think that's the highest one we got so far. Oh wait, no, there's an even higher one later. So then next we're gonna move on to the world of editors. So an animatic editor with 5 years of experience at Netflix. So editors are a part of a different union, not the animation union. They're part of the MPEG union, which is the Motion Picture Editors Guild. So that's great that they have their own union. So their rates, I don't know what they're gonna be like compared to animation union studios. So just keep that in mind if you are planning to become an editor in the future. So an animatic editor with 5 years of experience at Netflix with the MPEG union is paid $2,250 per week, which is around $117,000 per year. Then meanwhile, an assistant animation editor with 3 years of experience also at Netflix and also with the MPEG union is paid $2,400 per week, which is around $124,800 per year. So even though this person is an assistant, sometimes it depends on what type of project it is. If it's like a bigger feature film project, sometimes an assistant editor can get paid more than a regular editor. But also at the end of the day, I do think that the previous editor with 5 years of experience should try to aim for more if they want to or can. And then an animatic editor with 5 years of experience at an unknown studio, also with MPEG, is paid $3,500 per week, which is around $182,000 per year. So yeah, the first animatic editor who also had 5 years of experience should try to aim for more. So the second part of this video is going to be more about directorial and leadership positions, because I would say that this is when the higher end of the rates are, and this is kind of more in the aspirational end of things, because I feel like this first section I mentioned are jobs that, most entry and junior level people get into within your first 5 years of working. And then afterwards is usually when people start taking on leadership positions, because this is probably a time in life where you're maybe older, maybe you have a family to support, maybe you just have more life responsibilities, who knows? And in general, I feel like if you are aiming to grow financially, it is a good idea to kind of grow in your position level if that's something that you want. But I'm not trying to say you should do this, because I think you can still live a perfectly fine life being an artist that is not in a leadership position. But I'm just going to bring this up anyway for anyone who does want to grow in their careers. So in the story section, we have a head of story with 16 years of experience at an unknown union studio, probably a feature film studio, is paid $3,500 per week, which is around $182,000 per year, but this person also works 45 hours per week instead of 40 hours per week. So technically their hourly rate, I guess, is a little bit lower. Then next we have a showrunner / executive producer with 6+ years experience at Nickelodeon, which is a unionized studio, which is paid $3,700 per week, which is around $192,400 per year. So I put a showrunner in this section because I feel like there tends to be a more natural transition from being a storyboard artist to director to then a showrunner. That is the typical traditional route that you might frequently hear about. But of course, anyone from any artistic field or background can also become a showrunner. I literally worked with someone who is from the art department and became a showrunner, even though their main focus was not story. So it definitely is possible. Then we have an episodic director with 10 years of experience at Titmouse Animation, which is a unionized studio, who's paid $4,000 per week, which is around $208,000 per year. So this person, even though they're not the showrunner of the show, they're the episodic director, which means they're not even the main director of the show, is being paid more than the previous showrunner. So I'm really curious to know what the previous show at Nickelodeon is. It's all a mixed bag at the end of the day, and I'm just making these observations. So then next in the art department, there's a color supervisor with 11 years of experience at Cartoon Network, which is a unionized studio, being paid $2,650 per week, which is around $137,800 per year. Then there's an art director with 8 years of experience at Warner Brothers / Discovery, which is also union, that is being paid $2,884.62 per week, which is around $150,000 per year. So then there's an art director at an unknown unionized studio with 10 years of experience that is paid $3,800 per week, which is around $197,600 per year. Then we're gonna move on to the world of CG. So there's a CG supervisor with 11 years of experience, a unionized studio, who's paid $3,384.62 per week, which is around $176,000 per year. Then there's a CG supervisor with 14 years of experience at an unknown unionized animation studio who's paid $4,200 per week, which is around $218,400 per year. So now we're starting to get higher in the numbers. But wait till you hear the next one. So there's an art director / CG lead with 6 years of experience, but they are freelance, who's paid $1,600 per day, which would be around $8,000 per week, and assuming this person works a full year, and I assume that they would, because if you're a leadership position, you actually might surpass 1 to 2 years of working at the studio. So annually, this would be around $416,000 per year. So the next we're gonna move to animation. So there's a lead 2D animator with 12 years of experience at Peloton, which is very interesting, which is a non-union studio, obviously, that is being paid $2,634.60 per week, which is around $137,000 per year. Then there's a 2D retakes director with 5 years of experience at Disney TV Animation, which is a unionized studio that is being paid $2,700 per week, which is around $140,400 per year. And sorry, I forgot to add a last one, which is a lead 3D animator with 6 years of experience at a non-union studio, got paid $3,269.23 per week, which is around $170,000 per year. Then next, we're going to be moving on to the character design / prop design world. There's a lead character designer with 15 years of experience at Nickelodeon, which is unionized, who is paid $2,500 per week, which is around $130,000 per year. And then there's a lead character designer with 10 years of experience at an unknown animation studio, being paid $70 per hour, which would be around $3,150 per week, which then would be around $163,800 per year. So I'm not sure what studio this is, but the previous person had 15 years of experience at Nickelodeon and is making like $33K less per year. So I don't know, maybe this one is a feature studio. Then there's a lead prop designer with 7 years of experience at an unknown animation studio, and I don't know if they're unionized, but they're being paid $2,692.31 per week, which is around $140,000 per year. So this person with less years of experience than the first person with 15 years of experience is being paid already $10K more than the person at Nickelodeon. So I don't know, I think maybe the person at Nickelodeon should be asking for more. So then moving on to layout and previs, a previs / post-viz supervisor with 6 years of experience at the Third Floor, which is a non-union studio, is being paid $2,307.69 per week, which is around $120,000 per year. I think this might be one of the lower end leadership position rates that I've heard of so far, I think. Then there's a previs supervisor with 20 years of experience, and I'm not sure if the studio's unionized or not, and it's unknown, is being paid $146, but they didn't specify if this is hourly, weekly, or yearly. So if it's $146 hourly, that would be around $303,680 per year. So this person would be making bank if so. Or they're being paid $146,000 per year, which would be $2,807.69 per week. but I don't know. It remains a mystery, so I'll just leave that there up for our interpretation. Then there's a layout supervisor with 11 years of experience at Walt Disney Animation Studios who's being paid $4,000 per week, which is around $208,000 per year. So then there are just some other random positions that I just found that I thought would be interesting to mention. There's an associate creative director with 12 years of experience in a non-union agency in Chicago who's being paid $2,500 per week, which is around $130,000 per year, but they also receive a 10% bonus, so that's interesting. Then there's a designer slash creative director with 15 years of experience at an unknown studio in New York who's being paid $4,423.08 per week, which is around $230,000 per year. Then there's a supervising director slash co-producer with 10 years of experience at Disney TV Animation Studios, which is unionized, who's being paid $4,800 per week, which is around $249,600 per year. So, but yeah, so far I think this is one of the top pay rates that is non-freelance, so congrats to them. So hopefully this video provided some insight for you to see, like, you know, what is a valid career you could probably take in the future that you could also see financially supporting the life you need to live, and just what other roles out there you can aspire to grow into while also knowing how much you might be getting paid. And again, remember that all of these pays are pre-tax, but that's also usually the standard numbers that are given to you before you take any job, because you will be having to pay taxes. And just again, remember that job positions and titles are going to differ from studio to studio. So just because you are a story supervisor at this studio doesn't mean your responsibilities are going to be the same as this head of story at this other studio. Like, there are so many different factors that go into someone's pay rate, but it's also important to know that you are getting paid fairly for your responsibilities. And if you are at a unionized studio, I highly suggest going on the Animation Guild's website and looking at their wage minimums to know at least how much you should be getting paid at a bare minimum. So thank you again for watching this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, especially if you want to stay tuned for my next video, which is going to be the worst paying jobs in animation, which is going to be the total opposite of this one. So maybe you know what jobs to avoid or what jobs to not stay in if this is the job that you're starting off in. So until then, I'll see you later. So peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.